My grandmother was groomed to believe that her whole purpose on earth was to have children until her body gave out, until she either died in childbirth or she made it to menopause. Her whole purpose was to bear children. So she had 8 children in 10 years. After the 8th child, the story in the family, as was told by her and others, was that she went to the priest crying and begged for permission to use birth control and not go to hell. So in my mind, there is no way that my grandfather is not a rapist. That man is a rapist. He coerced his wife, at a minimum, into having sex with him when she was just out of childbirth. 8 kids in 10 years? She was not given enough time to heal. Not even just that, but I know that she knew when she was ovulating. And she obviously was not able to say no, even though it was weighing on her so heavily she went to a priest and cried about it. But her own husband kept crawling on top of her. And the amount of trauma that having 8 kids in 10 years does to a single person is bad enough. But what it did to that family, the 8 children and 2 adults, it created so much trauma. Those children did awful things to each other, and the adults never handled it appropriately.
Like sometimes I actually wonder if husbands truly understand what it means to love and protect your wives. Like women are steadily submitting, but the men, they are sleeping on their roles and nobody's talking to them. Now let's even paint a more subtle scenario where it's the woman, the wife, wanting these kids by herself, because I know that from this part of the world where I am at, women sometimes want to have these children because they want to have them. Some of our grandmothers, they chose to have these kids because they felt like they were strong and capable to do so. And obviously, they believe that the whole purpose of marriage was to give birth to multiple children. Some then would have a lot of girls and maybe go ahead to be looking for a male child. They keep having children, and some even have one male child, but they go ahead to look for more. Some even girl children, they have male children and they keep having children just to look for a particular gender. It used to happen a lot then. Now, what am I saying? You, as the husband, you are an enabler if you see your wife going through such, doing such to herself, and you choose to do nothing about that. That just goes to tell you how far I feel like a man should go in order to protect his wife, even if it was her decision to put this upon herself. Even if, like, do something, I don't know what you do, just do something. Get a vasectomy, don't sleep with your wife anymore if she wants it that bad. Now bringing it back to this extreme case where your wife had to run to a priest to cry for birth control because obviously you were the one putting her into such precarious situation. That just shows how much of a selfish and evil person you are as a man. And all this is just because of your urge to lay with your wife. Because that's all you see her as. You see her as a tool. You don't see her as a human being. You don't see her as anything that is worth having self control over, even in the midst of your marriage. Childbearing is not just having a baby, it's one of a few experiences where a woman's body walks a thin line. It's just a thin line, very small line between life and danger. Let's even put aside what it does to the body. Having these multiple children would only put those children in a place of trauma because you're giving birth to children that would eventually miss out on their childhood because you keep popping out babies, especially the older kids in this case. Best believe that they would have to fill in the gap of their mother because their mom is obviously with a man who doesn't give a hoot. Then you raise a generation of traumatized children, passing it on to the next and the next generation and the next generation. And it's a cycle until one person decides to trace it back to the root cause and not have children, or just decides to have one or a few. So how are you making the world a better place? Through your marriage. You keep bringing children into this world only to neglect their needs, because believe it or not, I don't believe it's possible to have multiple children and cater to them very well, equally. it's not possible. It's almost impossible as a human being. I've never ever blamed women that say they don't want to have kids, but now I understand them, really understand them, because I think and I know that a lot of thought process has been put into that. I don't blame them at all.
And guess what happened? Those children had children. That's me. And now my generation has had children. And those children have had children. And all of this trauma has been passed down to these little babies because it's never been resolved. It's never even been properly talked about. We don't talk about how our grandmother was ran into the ground by our grandfather in the church. No one talks about it. Now, it's been a few years since I've seen these people because, as I'm sure you can imagine, we do not get along. I guess the point of this video, I don't actually know the point of this video. I was driving home from work and I was so mad thinking about this and thinking, because this situation, by the way, is not unique. This has happened to countless women, especially Catholic women. The Catholic women, any Christian-based religion, be fruitful and multiply. Yeah, that's all on the backs of women. I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about how my godmother is dead because a man murdered her. Will the trauma ever end?
I'm even wondering why women seem to be more religious than men in most cases. Or is it that most of these religious practices were made solely for women alone? I got married into a Catholic church, and I understand that they do have their doctrine and all, and I respect that. Obviously, I follow a lot of their doctrine, and yeah, but I also know that most of this religious doctrine, and it's not just in Catholic church, it's spread in churches all over. I know that most of them are just man-made because over the course of the years, there have been twitches here and there. Because obviously these things are not perfect. They are not infallible like God. And we know that it's only God's standard that are the same. They do not change. I don't even know how to say this without sounding like I'm luring anyone to believe anything outside of what you're being taught in your church. All I have to say is that when it doesn't seem right for you, it just doesn't. And you can only understand this when you understand God's love for you. He just loves you so much more than anything whatsoever it is that you're holding on to at the expense of your safety and your sanity and your peace in order to please him. It's just like holding on to a bad and an abusive spouse because we know that God doesn't like divorce. It doesn't make sense. That's not what he wants for you. I mean, if it's taking away your peace, your sanity, then it should be questioned. And please be fruitful and multiply is not for one person alone. God commanded everybody to do that. You're not the only one to fill this earth with the kids from your womb. Having just one child that you're sure that you would give your best to is way better, far better than having 5 children. Your quiver is full of 5 children that you don't even have the time to take care of. It's far better, I tell you. And please, women should learn to protect themselves. Even if you find yourself in a situation where you feel like your husband or your spouse is not protecting you to the maximum, try and protect yourself. For yourself, it's for your own good. Pray to your God. Protect yourself physically, mentally, every other way. Don't depend on a man, solely on a man, to do that for you. I mean, before you get into marriage, it's okay to discuss how many kids you feel like you want. And I feel again that men should cut their wives some slack because they are the ones carrying these babies. I mean, if you love her, obviously there would be a middle ground as to how many kids you want to have, and it should favor your wife even more. That's what I feel, that's what I think, and that's what I know is the best way to go about it. But anyways, let me know your thoughts about this. I'm just glad that a lot of women are wiser now, so it's not that rampant, even though I know that there are still families that have multiple children and these people are not even financially capable to take care of these children, but they go ahead to keep having baby, popping out babies every other day. But anyways, let me just know your thoughts about this in the comment section. Thank you so much for sticking with me to the end of this video. Please do well to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and I'll see you all in another one. Okay, bye.